Chapter 2. Then. I'm sitting on one of the two couches in the foyer of the music school where I just started working. It's been a few months since I graduated from music college, and I'm glad I found a job in a school that's close by and owned by another German immigrant, Fred. I feel good here, apart from my usual everyday insecurities, like the fact that I'm at my heaviest weight so far. That still doesn't make me fat or even close to obese, but it does make me wear leggings with a skirt on top, all stretchy materials, because I can't get myself to buy bigger sized jeans when I'm sure I'll have to lose the weight again. And buying something now would essentially be a waste of money. My hair is long, and for the most part bleached blonde. It doesn't stay nice and straight anymore, even if I make the effort to straighten it out with an iron. It's thin, and unless I take an hour to curl it, it makes me feel kind of sloppy, the way it hangs down my head and shoulders. So on most days, I just put it up in a bun or some sort of ponytail, which also makes me feel unattractive, but at least I feel like I look a bit more cleaned up. As I'm sitting on the couch, waiting, gazing down at my Converse sneakers, while casually chatting with our shy receptionist Sally, Eddie comes in through the door, immediately engaging everyone in the room in fun conversation, playing with the little kids and throwing them up and over his shoulder. Eddie teaches drums here, but I haven't seen him for the last month or so. He must have been gone for a while. But even so, I have noticed how popular he is with the kids and how much energy he brings into this place. It makes me smile. "Hey, Karen," he says, noticing me looking at him. "What's up with those shoes of yours?" I correct him. "It's Catherine. And what do you mean?" "I'm sorry, my bad, Catherine. I was just thinking a woman like you should be wearing something more classy." "Oh yeah?" I say, acting sassy and confident in this conversation, when in reality I am everything but, and I question every word that comes out of my mouth. "Like what?" "Like a pair of J's." He wiggles his feet and does a quick, funny dance in his Jordans. "I'm sure they would look cute on you." And then he disappears into the drum room. Whatever, I'm thinking. I just can't place him or put him in a box. He's different, and somehow that's weirdly intriguing. On the other hand, I have a strange feeling of discomfort. Most people aren't that forward. I look at Sally, and we both shake our heads and chuckle. I lean back on the couch and wait for the next 10 minutes to go by until my next piano student comes in. I didn't plan on becoming a teacher of any sort. I was so brave to make the big move overseas and study music here, leaving everything I knew behind. My family has always supported me, and my friends have always been cheering for me, despite not wanting me to leave Germany. And now I'm giving piano and singing lessons because I don't believe I could actually make real money with my music. I'm too shy, not thin enough, not fit enough, and haven't practiced enough. Too many things. It's not that I'm not grateful for this job and the fact that it allows me to still live in this expensive city. To be here while I build a career and make the connections that are going to get me where I want to be. Only, I am not building anything but more insecurities and more excuses to not do what I really came here to do. That night, I get home, and Baloo greets me with a loud and persistent meow, as if he's trying to say, "Where have you been all day, Mom?" Baloo is basically my family here, especially since Alana moved out a few months ago to work at Disneyland. We were in the same program in music college and lived together in a 2-bedroom apartment with several roommates in our living room over the span of 3 semesters. There was the girl who was supposed to move in with us but then ditched us. Then there was Xavier, a guy who found our ad on Craigslist, who was high at least half the time and made the grossest sounds in the shower. After that, my new short-term best friend Dora moved in. but she moved back to Norway after just a few months. I still miss her dearly. She was and still is a soulmate. So then another school friend moved in, who then started dating our neighbor. After that, we brought in one of the new girls from school, who at one point had half of her family living in our living room for a month when they visited from overseas. Alana and I adopted Baloo about 4 weeks into living here, and it felt like we were a little family. She now feels like a sister to me. I just don't see her much anymore. She now lives in Anaheim, which, with light traffic, is about an hour away from Pasadena. I already went through 2 other roommates since then. It's only been 4 months since Alana moved out, and finding a cool girl to live with was quite tricky and exhausting. Luckily, I seem to have found a good one at last, Leo. She not only loves Baloo, but also shares my plant-based eating habits. She usually works all day and then spends her evenings at the library, from where she easily brings back 10 books at a time. I pick up my furry, 4-legged friend and hold him tightly against my chest. What would I do without you? Do you even know how much I love you? He starts purring and pushes his head sternly against the palm of my hand, using both of his cat hands to grab my arm and pull my hand in tighter. He is the cuddliest cat I've ever met, and as a Siamese, also one of the loudest cats I've ever met. He's the cat I always dreamed of having, the one that sleeps in your bed with you, spooning, and comes to you and likes to be picked up, the one you have a special bond with. That I am sure we have. When Alana and I went to the shelter to look at cats, Baloo picked us. He stretched out his little arm towards me from the cage he was in. He said, "Please take me home." At least that's what I thought he was trying to say. And even though we weren't even planning on getting a cat that day, he stole our hearts, and we ended up bringing him home that same afternoon. If only my relationships with men were as simple and straightforward. Maybe I am too picky, but perhaps I just don't want to settle for something less than what I want. Maybe my standards are higher than what I can offer in return, and so I will always run after someone who's too good for me.